Hello, welcome to the first podcast. This is hopefully going to be a weekly series of podcasts where you get to listen to me ramble on, hopefully giving you some tips and useful bits of advice. I put out a little post on Facebook asking if anybody had any questions that they wanted answering, so I'm going to do a little bit of a Q&A, and then I've got a couple of prepared things that I want to show you on the guitar. One of them is an easy chord lesson, if you like, and then the other one is like a blues, rock, metal run, which I use quite a lot. So that's kind of the deal, really. So the first question that I had was from a guy called Joe, and Joe wants to know about recording himself playing covers and the best way of putting that up on YouTube to get the best quality. So what I would kind of say to that is that if you look on YouTube at a lot of the self-recorded stuff, most of it's done with a webcam and the video looks pretty shocking. But the audio is the most important thing, I think, really, with that kind of thing. You know, you're putting the performance across, and it's an audio performance after all. You know, it's you playing something. So as far as the video goes, to get the video as good as possible, use the best camera that you've got. That might end up being one on your phone, you know, so if you've got like an iPhone or a Samsung, you might find that the video camera on that is actually really good. So do some test recordings. Lighting is a really important one. Choose the brightest place that you can to record it in your house, if you're recording it there, and make sure that if it's daytime when you're recording it, which is a good idea, make sure that the window is behind the camera. So if you're here and the camera's pointing at you, you want the window or the biggest light source to be behind the camera, pointing in your direction. You don't want to sit in front of the window with the light from the sun being behind you. Now, the sunlight from this window is behind me now, but I've got other lights which are filling in and are counteracting that. So that's the first thing with shooting the video, is make sure that that's you, then the camera, then the light source. And then with the audio, the other thing to bear in mind is when you record audio with a camera, the microphone on the camera is quite far away from you. So if your camera's, say, 5 feet away, then your microphone's 5 feet away from the source material, which is you playing. And if you play an electric guitar, for example, the microphone will hear the plectrum on the strings. Now, you'd never ever hear that. You wouldn't hear it at a gig, you wouldn't hear it in the studio, you wouldn't hear it, you know, you just never hear it. You'd never hear the plectrum on the strings of an electric guitar, but the microphone hears that, and it gives quite an amateur sort of sound. You've got to try and combat that if you can and not have that happen. So yeah, just watch out for that, really. If you can record your guitar with another recording device, like maybe use your laptop if you've got one, or your computer, your PC, and maybe, let's say that you're using an effects pedal or an amplifier to record, maybe stick another mic in front of that amplifier and put that into your PC, and you can get like a really cheap mic from Tesco for like £5 or something. They're not expensive. Or if you've got an effects pedal that's got a line out, you can take a line out of that and record that into your PC. And there's loads of online programs that you can use for that. Audacity is quite a popular one. And if your sound drivers don't work on your Windows PC with Audacity, there's a program you can get called ASIO for All. That's a little driver program that makes sure that your audio ins and outs will work with Audacity. I'll put links to both of those things under this on the website. So hopefully that answers your question to a certain degree anyway. Now the other question wasn't really a question, it was a thread that I was kind of involved in on Facebook, which was a guy called James, and he was talking about playing easy songs. And through that we ended up talking about playing easy chords. So the first sort of lesson section that I want to do in this podcast is all about what I think are probably the easiest chords that you can play on the guitar to make a tune. So let's get on to that. So these simple chords, they all basically use the same two fingers in the same place. Your little finger is going to be on the 3rd fret of the E string, and your 3rd finger is going to follow it up on the B string, also on the 3rd fret. And they're going to stay there for the duration of these chords. So the first one of these chords we're going to play is a G. The 2nd finger is going on the E string on the 3rd fret. Give that a strum, we get this. And what's also happening at this point is my 2nd finger, the fat on the back of my 2nd finger, is just grabbing the A string, it's just touching the A string and muting it. I'm not even trying to do anything really, it just happens to do that anyway most of the time, to be honest. So if you wanted to hear the A string, you could stand your 2nd finger up and get a very clear, well, that's not really a nice sound, so you want that to just be muted a little bit. And that gives you your G. Now I call these things one-fingered chords because you're only moving one finger between the chords. These two stay where they are. The actual names of these chords aren't as simple as I'm about to sort of say them. I'm going to say that's called G. Technically, that's a G5. It's not got a third in it. Now, if you don't know what that means, that doesn't make any difference. You can just learn the chord as a box shape, and then you can get into the theory a little bit later. But all of the chords that we're going to do have got slightly different names. So, for example, that's a G. Sounds quite nice. So the next one, we're going to take that second finger, I'm going to drop that second finger down to the A string. We're going to strum the chord from the A string, and that gives us a C. Now again, that's actually a C add 9, but we're just going to refer to it as a C for now. And again, there's going to be a worksheet that's going to help you through this on the website, just below this video. So all of the regular names for these chords will be on there so that you know what you're playing. So that's the first two. We've got the G, we've got the C. So far, reasonably simple. And now the next one's an E minor, and the way that we're going to do that is the first finger is going on the second fret of the A string, and then we're going to strum from the E string. Now it's actually an E minor 7. But again, it's a nice sounding chord, nice and easy. And then the next chord, we drop the first finger down, we pick from the A string, and that gives us an A7 sus4. And then the next chord, we drop the first finger down and strum it from the D string, and that gives us a D sus4. So just going through those one at a time, we've got the G5, we've got the C add 9, we've got the E minor 7, we've got the A7 sus4, and then we've got the D sus4. Now you can think of these as G, C, E minor, A, and D. You don't have to think about them as those full extended names. And the reason why you might do that is because if you're playing a song that's in G and has got G's and C's and D's and E minors in, then these are really, really quick to play. If we do a G and then a C and then a D and then an E minor, you can get between them really, really fast. And they sound great. They're really, really good fun to play. I play these loads when I'm doing gigs because they're very simple. They're not difficult to get your fingers to. They're easy to change. And if you're singing a song, you might want to have something easy to play while you're singing that song so you can be thinking about the lyrics or thinking about delivering a good vocal performance. So those are the easy chords. G, or G5, sorry, C add 9, E minor 7, A7 sus4, and D sus4. So get them learnt, play around with them, have some fun, and maybe write a couple of tunes and stuff like that. All right. The next thing we're going to look at is a little blues run. It's like a blues, rock, metal kind of run. You can play it in all different genres. So let's get on that. So this blues run, you can use it for blues, you can use it for rock, you can use it for metal. It's sort of an all-purpose run, and I use it quite a lot for getting around the neck. I find it really, really useful. So the way that it's going to work, I'm just going to take you through the run one note at a time. Again, there's going to be a tab for this on the worksheet on the website, just down there. So I'll take you through it note by note, show you the position changes, and then you're off. So the first thing, this starts, it's in A minor, but it starts from the G. And we're going to start from the G with the first finger. We're going to go like this. We're going to turn around there, head back to the first finger, slide up, and then get those last two. So if you pick every note, it sounds like this. And if you hammer and pull the notes, it sounds more like this. A little bit softer sounding. So you get the idea, hopefully with that first line. And the next thing we do is we just play that thing 3 times, but we're going to go up the different octaves. So we're starting from the G here. If we go up an octave, the next G is going to be on the D string on the 5th fret. So we're going to play the same riff starting from there. And then if we go up from that G we've just played, an octave, to the, what's that, the 8th fret on the B string, that gives us the next G, and we can play the riff from there. So if I put that all together, we get this. And if you're feeling a little bit frisky, you can go backwards. And you can play this in a few different ways. You can dig in with the plectrum and get a bit more aggressive. You can try it with hammers and pulls. So you can use it as a rock run for playing that sort of stuff, but then you can also sort of play more of a bluesy kind of. Use it as a blues turnaround kind of thing. So that's one of my favourite rock runs. And you can do loads and loads of cool things with that. So feel free to just rip that off and do whatever you want with it. So that pretty much wraps up the podcast. I hope this has been useful. I hope there's some stuff in here that you can take away and do something with in your music. If you've got any questions that you want answered on the podcast, then you can either send an email to info@johnwdoyle.net, or you can go to the Facebook page, which is John W. Doyle Music, or you can follow me on Twitter, which is @JohnWDoyle. That's pretty much all of it. Oh, YouTube! Don't forget YouTube, John W. Doyle Music on YouTube, I think it is. So you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow this on the Apple Podcast app. If you want to subscribe, then you'll get these downloaded straight to your iOS device or your Mac. And that's pretty much it, really. So keep your questions coming. Thank you very much for supporting the podcast and for watching and for giving me your time. And I'll see you next week. All right, take it easy, guys. This podcast's over.